Okay, let's talk about brushes as quickly as we can. Now, I have got my little travel brush kit with me, and this is for when I'm doing jobs like on the news, like I'm doing today, where they provide a lot of kits, so I only have to carry these with me. And because of that, they aren't my favourite brushes. My actual best brushes are in my proper makeup kit that's all packed up, and the brushes are like inserted into that in the way I pack my kit. So I don't want to take all of that out just to get my brushes out for a news job. So anyway, I have these. There's nothing wrong with them. They're just not my actual best favourite everyday brushes. That said, some of them are duplicates of our favourites. But I thought I'd just talk about the, how can I put it? The type of brush, maybe, rather than the model and make. I don't want you to think you have to go out there and buy that exact brush that I'm talking about, especially when it might not be my favourite brush I actually would use for that thing. Does that make sense? First off, your base. You can put this on with your fingers. Of course, you absolutely don't need a makeup brush, yeah, or any kind of brush to put that on with. When I'm putting base on people, I use a flat foundation brush. I find that I like to paint the separate colours of, because I use 2 or 3 foundations on only any one face, and I know you might not do that, but I use that and I sort of build in the different parts of the face of different colours, and then I buff it in with like a foundation buffing brush. That's just how I do it. There's definitely no right or wrong. In fact, if I do my own makeup, I use a beauty blender. I really love beauty blenders. I love them damp. I love the patting on the skin. I like the motion of it. The blending is amazing. They just don't work so well as a makeup artist when I'm putting makeup on people and I need to really work with different colours on their face, like be extremely precise and really build a face like an artist painting a canvas, painting a face on a canvas, if that makes sense. But I love them for personal use, so definitely not that anything wrong with them. Also, just the amount of beauty blenders I would get through on a daily basis, and the washing of them, and the hygiene side and the waste side I'm not so down with, whereas with these I wash them with fairy liquid and water, and sanitize them with IPA alcohol as well, so it's like a 2-stage process. So again, it's totally different between personal and professional use, I should say. I suppose I am professional, although some people might question that. This is also a really good example of a foundation brush, and maybe a slightly better way if you don't feel very confident with putting on your makeup, because you can get quite precise into areas, but you could also like really buff in and really blend it around. I always put the concentration of foundation to the middle of the face, so under eyes, around the nose, chin, and then I buff away from there. So 1, I'm not using too much product, and 2, you're only putting foundation on the areas that mostly need it, whereas actually probably around the jawline, not the same for everyone, but there's probably less discoloration, less capillary damage or acne scarring. But again, some people do have really bad acne on their chin, so different for different people. But anyway, so that's foundation brushes. This is a MAC 190, and this is by AU, both really beautiful. This is also perfect for cream blush or cream bronzer. Anything, if you are putting on a liquid based product, your brush needs to be very stiff. Now, it isn't hard, it's soft, but the bristles are packed very tightly together, which means they don't fan out. Can you see I'm not pushing them out? Same with this one. Whereas the difference between that and say a powder brush, this is a gorgeous brush by Avon 106. It is so unbelievably soft. I've just used it on myself, so excuse the colour, but can you see how these bristles splay when you press on them? That's because it's powder. So this would be great for powdering, although you might want a slightly smaller size to go around the eyes, maybe something around this. Oh, fuck a duck. Another one bites the dust. I told you it wasn't my favourite kit. It's actually because it's older. I've sort of put older good brushes into here and good new brushes into my other kit. That's the Spectrum 106. So any powdering can be done with any of this kind of fluffy, bendy type, it's not focusing, brushes. And this might be good if you wanted to go under your eyes and put a little translucent powder in here. Make sure you always do the old translucent powder on your eyelids after your foundation before you put eyeshadow on, because it will crease. Anyway, so two beautiful powder brushes, but essentially a powder brush has to be floppy and soft because it's going on your face. blusher and contour or bronzer, you want an angled brush. Can you see how that sits on a slight slope there? Again, it's a fluffy brush, it's very movable, but that would just fit into the contours of your cheeks. You might maybe want to put it down the nose, around the hairline, or as a blusher brush. I don't want to go over it because I've got cream blusher on, as you can see, but it will just go and sweep up there with your blush. This is, no idea guys what this is. Free to a good home by all accounts. But anyway, you've got the score, there's an angle one, so if you just type in angle blusher or angle bronzer brush, you'd come up with that. Here's another version. This is a MAC 168, 169. Again, you can see that kind of slope. This one's actually dying a death because the side there, can you see the side is just growing out a bit longer, which means it's ready to die. Okay, eyes. Push your base colour, the colour that's going all over your lid, on with a flatter brush, something like this. This is a medium shadow brush by Real Techniques, nice and flat. You can see that angle shape there, although it has a slightly more fluffy edge. Kind of could also be nice for getting that socket line in there. You want to push your base colour all over with that, or something like, oh, we are running out. Oh, there you go, there's another nice flat one. This is actually from my university kit, I'm sure. This was a very old makeup brand. Oh, I've forgotten the name of it now, but you can see the kind of, they're sort of flat and they're going to push colour on for you. These are also great with cream eyeshadow, as in like the consistency, like a creamy eyeshadow, because you can just paint it on. Then when you want to buff and, you know, really get that crease in and soften everything out, you want a nice fluffy brush, exactly the same as if you were putting powder on a small area. This is by My Kit Co. It's a 1.27S. So good for just blending out. You know, you put your hard liner on and then you just blend that out. Another version of this is the MAC 217. Again, this one's dying a death. The 217s are like an old favourite of mine. They just, yeah, they've always been brilliant. Unfortunately, these are very old, so I think the amount of alcohol on them over the years has probably made them quite hard. Although this is a fairly new My Kit Co one, and that is still in brilliant shape and, gosh, just so absolutely soft and beautiful. Detailing brushes, your angle brushes, or your flat bed brushes, there you go. So we've got an angle brush there and a flat brush there. Perfect for, like, you know, if you want to do like a little soft line of smoky eyeshadow underneath your eyes. If you want to draw a little liner like this, you'd be going like that one way and then turning the brush around and going that way, and that's how you put your gel liner or your liquid liner on. If you're going to wet into an eyeshadow, mix it up with some water and create your own eyeliner, you would use this. So perfect little detailing brushes. This one is a MAC 2, I think that's 256, and this one's a Morphe M432. Again, angle brush, angle brush for eyes, and then a flat head brush. So that's eyes. Oh, here's another liner brush. If you don't want to use the angled brush and you want a very precise work, you want a little fine detailing brush. This is a MAC 2110. Oh, I just can't seem to get that focus. Super, super fine. Eyeliner, even if you want to do some fake contour around the lips, if you want to draw some freckles. Concealer brush. Concealer brushes should also be flat. A few examples here. This is the MAC 2336. Gosh, these are so old that even the MAC's rubbed off this one. So they're flat and they're great for just getting in there with the concealer, you know, using oil-based concealer for spots around the face, and a water-based concealer in underneath the eyes, and then maybe you would want to go in and buff that concealer with a little fluffy one. But anything flat like that. And I think that's everything, isn't it? Except I've got a load more for more other things and more detailed things. God, my hair is flat. But you just don't need them. In fact, you don't need all of these. You don't. I would say if you're going to get anything for yourself and personal use, 100% a really good blending brush like the My Kit Co. Absolutely beautiful, and you can't really do really good blending without it. And then the Real Techniques, a nice sort of flat, fluffy brush like this. Gosh, sorry guys. If I get rid of my face, it might help. It's because I've got cinematic on and I don't know why I did that. So you definitely need those. I think a really good buffing foundation brush that also can be used for cream bronzer or cream blush would be brilliant, like the IU. Gosh, he is just looking for my face, that camera. Yeah, and also actually an angled blush brush or contour brush. I mean, you could even use those as a powder brush as well, but I mean, depends how good you are at washing between doing makeups. Lovely big fluffy brush, my Avon one. So actually, oh, and an angled brush. I think you can't go wrong without a little fine angled brush for finer work around your eyes. So that's only 4 brushes that you really, really, I think, would benefit from. And, you know, money-wise, I can guarantee you've spent more money on makeup that you don't use, bags, clothes, shoes, socks, key rings, purses, whereas these brushes would last for 10 years if you look after them. I'm pretty sure you buy coffee, you buy Netflix, whatever, so it just depends what's more important to you, I suppose. Mine's gin, but everyone has their vices.